This is very simple. Whose side are you on? Are you on the side of the taxpayers or multi-billion-dollar oil companies? Are you on the side of fishermen working hard to make a living, or on the side of multi-billion-dollar oil companies? Are you on the side of the small inns that make the tourism for the Gulf region, or on the side of multi-billion-dollar oil companies? Are you on the side of coastal communities that are going to have to be affected by virtue of the spill, or on the side of multi-billion-dollar oil companies? So because of the fierce urgency of now, we believe that it is necessary to ask unanimous consent that the Environment and Public Works Committee be discharged from further consideration of S-3305, the Big Oil Bailout Prevention Liability Act of 2010, and that the Senate then proceed to its consideration, that the bill be read 3 times, passed, and the motion to reconsider be laid upon the table.
Big Oil would love to have these caps up there so they can shut out all the independents. Now, we have independents in my state of Oklahoma, and right now, 63% of the Gulf's natural gas and 36% of its oil are produced by independents. Now, what you do, if you raise the caps right now precipitously to this height, you're going to help the 5 big oil companies, including BP. You give them exclusive rights. You're going to help the nationalized oil companies, such as those in China and in Venezuela, and shut out the small and medium-sized independent producers.
Oklahoma yields,
and for that reason, I object.
I regret that my colleague, distinguished colleague from Oklahoma, has decided to object. I would simply say, if you're a quote-unquote independent. Now, and some of these independent companies, some of them are valued at $40 billion. But even if they're not, does it mean that just because you're not the BPs of the world, that you should have less liability? That if this spill in the Gulf was done not by a BP or an ExxonMobil or any of those, but from some other entity, that there should be less liability for them? So therefore, they can take the risk and go ahead and drill, and if it works out, they get all the profits. But if they spill, their liability would be limited under the guise that we're going to create a monopoly for the Big Five. I'm for creating that liability across the entire range. Because if you're involved in a dangerous activity, one that can create enormous environmental and economic damage, then you should face the liability for such, whether you are BP or whether you are some intermediate entity.